What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about Opendoor. I want to go over some of the data points, break it down on what really moved it, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So Opendoor had a very rough day, went down 11.04%, 655 the low, 742 the high, and 122 million shares being traded, 129 is the average. So when it came down to macro data, we didn't really have that great of stuff that came out. So we did have mortgage applications and mortgage market index. So applications came in at -5.2, and then market index came in at 316. Not great whatsoever. So it does kind of show more signs of cracking coming from consumers, and this obviously does directly affect Opendoor. As a side note though, this did cause the likelihood of a December cut to surprisingly go higher, because it kind of makes sense, right? Negative data justifies more of a cut. But we did have later in the day FOMC minutes, and that really did signal that the feds have no idea what the hell they are doing. So even the most recent meeting, which we did get a 25 basis point cut on, like they were torn, and even technically even more so for the December meeting. So it is fair to assume that we will not be getting any cut. Right now, there's a 33.5% likelihood of a 25 basis point cut. But in my opinion, over the next little bit, it is fair to assume that that will be kind of off the table. So that was going to be the next big catalyst for the broader market. So a lot of that did affect Opendoor, but even though there wasn't any official news from Opendoor, nothing speculative even coming out from Kaz, there was this that did come out after hours yesterday. So there was a Form 4 and also a 144. So in this 144 did signal that Christina is set to sell or did sell on the 17th, right over here, 72,000 shares and change, and then a second transaction at around 1,100 shares. There was also a Form 4 that did come out that kind of broke it down. And so a lot of people are crapping all over Christina. And in reality, I actually called her out in the past, because if we kind of pop over here and look at a lot of her transactions, this is it. And so when I did a video, where was it? It was right over here. Why did it go down on Friday? A lot of people just said, nope, you're wrong. You're just spreading FUD. Well, this is now the second day, technically, of, I guess, this same individual causing a push lower. So, because if we kind of look, she doesn't ever buy any stock, ever. She just gets transaction code A, meaning that she was awarded stock, and then just transaction code S. It is for just a straight up sell. So not for tax purposes, which this is a very negative thing. So when she was announced as the interim CFO, clearly the market saw what I saw and sees that as a very, very red flag. I don't really have the time to actually go through and look at each and every individual transaction, but from this Form 4, if you actually look right over here, it does say that it's for tax, part of the tax program. So in reality, yes, it's kind of justified for tax purposes. So it's really hard to distinguish if maybe this is more of an Opendoor problem, because they use transaction code S when they should be using transaction code F. So this one transaction, you got to give Christina a pass. So in my opinion, this whole sell-off today is largely unjustified, but still, this is crazy stuff. So people just see this, and a lot of selling ever since way back in 2022. So I don't know, for those of you that are familiar with this and have actually looked at a lot of these Form 4s, are they legitimate transaction code S's, or are they truly F's? So I know there's a lot of other stocks that I cover, such as SoundHound. Whoever managed their submissions to the SEC, they just don't know what the hell they're doing. So I don't know if Opendoor just incorrectly coded it as a S when it should be an F. But still, that is ultimately the reason why Opendoor did go down. You have a lot of individuals calling for, I guess, other members, board members, directors to buy, because so far we've seen Eric and Kaz buy, but I don't believe anyone else has bought any shares, or sorry, Morgan, I believe he did. But nonetheless, just wanted to kind of share that with you. As per usual, every time Opendoor does sell off, and arguably it's unjustified, you have shorts taking advantage and returning. So today, shorts did return 3.21 million shares, 21.18% of the free floats being shorted, works out to be 140.38 million shares overall being shorted. So I like to look at this as another indicator of whether the sell-offs are justified or not. So based on this, definitely it's not really just. One thing to take note of though, after hours today, we have NVIDIA earnings, and so most likely that is going to really move the broader market and hopefully cause a very nice recovery. So again, that could be coming down the pipeline. So we'll have to wait and see how that does play out. Looking at this, the options, 4.8 million in calls, 1.5 in puts, and then 45% of all the options being done are bullish in nature. From a bull standpoint, you see a consensus for it to be roughly around that $7 range. One thing to take note of though as well is they actually removed the weekly chains. So market makers changed that. I'm not really sure exactly why they did that. I obviously cover Opendoor every day or every second day, and I think, in my opinion, there's sufficient amount of volume to justify weekly options and the weekly chains, but maybe market makers think otherwise. So this definitely is a very, very big update for Opendoor, and I know some people might say speculatively that maybe this is to stop a squeeze or something. I know a lot of people will kind of think outside the box for that, but bears are anticipating for it to be sub kind of $6. So kind of crazy stuff, polar opposites for that. Aside from all that, these are all the transactions that did occur on the secondary market above $100,000. So you did have algorithmic trading largely suppressing Opendoor today, because even looking here, you see a lot of big money that was buying the dip. So Opendoor, big one for today, 17.3, 4.4, 2.4, 2.3, 1.1, and then 1.04. So again, if you actually take the time to read the explanation, it does signal for tax purposes. So you kind of got to give the individual a pass for that. So this technically is 𝗖𝗧's problem, or whoever manages that, for the incorrect code. So I think algorithmic trading was artificially suppressing Opendoor when it shouldn't have been. So that's just my own opinion, of course, but these are some of the transactions that did occur on the dark pool. So dark pool is often enough used by shorts, and given shorts returning 3.2 or whatever it was million, it is fair to assume most of these are buys. Big ones, 8.1, 4.7, 1.6, 1.4. So big money surprisingly was buying the Opendoor dip. Right now with it at 669, it is trading between this pivot and this S1. So 657 is a strong support, and it kind of bounced off of that general area. So again, that's going to be an kind of element to watch for over the next couple of trading days. And then 790 is going to be the next strong target / resistance. Aside from that, on the actual chart, it wasn't all that great. So right now it is below the 50 and also the 10-day moving average. So kind of signals that it wants to consolidate, but it's all going to come down to NVIDIA. That is going to really propel it higher back into most likely that mid $7 range, or really just break it down. So I believe that their earnings is due to come out in the next hour. So that again could really move the broader market, but there hasn't really been that much in like articles, no analyst ratings. So it has been largely just piggybacking off of the broader market. So let me know your thoughts on Opendoor. Are you buying? Are you selling? What are you doing with Opendoor? One final thing, pop over to my Stacked account. I just put out a Black Friday promotion where it is $1 a month, only to the first 100 individuals. And so right now there is 70 in there. So first 100 get that promotion at $1. So sign up. I put out daily day trades, numerous swing trades, worthwhile to kind of pop over there and check that out. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.